Hello, everyone. My name is Twymun Safford. I am a student at Oregon State University, a senior majoring in mathematics. And today I want to talk about an example in history where being mischievous is not necessarily tantamount to being evil, but instead can be an example of resisting the status quo for the benefit of others. So when we think about the civil rights movement, we often think about the peaceful marches, the sit-ins, the philosophy of nonviolence that often gets quoted and misused in order to essentially pacify those who are trying to bring awareness to a situation. But there's also the other side of the civil rights movement we don't talk about, that quieter, mischievous form of protection that had to come about in order to shield individuals from essentially facing violence and discrimination during protest. One such group of individuals who use their experience alongside their resources to protect others are the Deacons for Defense and Justice. So they were formed in 1964 in Jonesboro, Louisiana, and they were mostly made up of Black military veterans, men who fought overseas for freedoms that they would then be denied back home in the United States of America despite giving their lives in service of the country's agenda. In the Jim Crow South, local police officers often aided white supremacists or turned a blind eye to violence against civil rights workers. So the Deacons stepped in and they organized armed patrols, guarded marches, they protected black churches and black neighborhoods, and defended activists like those in the Congress of Racial Equality, especially during these intense voter registration drives where white police officers and Ku Klux Klan members would oppose and essentially try to hinder successful registrations. So, to authorities, specifically those that were allied with the Ku Klux Klan, the Deacons' actions were considered pure mischief and was considered a dangerous refusal to stay submissive to them. Contrary to what was being portrayed of them, the Deacons for Defense did not seek out violence or bloodshed for the sake of it. By their very existence and their very nature, they were there to protect Black communities. They were there to show and to acknowledge for Black communities that fighting back is the correct option to do in the face of adversity, in the face of fascism, in the face of racism. And this actually flipped the script. So now that Black Americans were no longer afraid to stand up to Night Riders and Ku Klux Klan members, essentially African Americans had a reduction of fear. They were empowered to go out and to vote, to register, and to demand justice and to stand up for their own rights. So the Deacons of Defense and Justice remind us that mischief, even rooted in love and protection, can be a powerful catalyst for change. Sometimes mischievous actions are actually what become the very fuel for the fire of revolution. In this case, they demonstrated that this courage and this mischievousness is what was needed to turn the tide and to essentially help foster a sense of self empowerment and courage in African American communities. Thank you for listening.